Right, take number 3. I hope I don't get kicked out of the game this time. For this video, I was actually planning to do my Willish advanced guide today. It's not quite finished yet, so we're doing this topic first. This is what I would call a complete overview of both my HUD and interface settings as well as my key bindings. I've been asked to do this for the most recent patch, and I will just show you how to set everything up and talk about why I do it. So you can just follow the steps one by one, basically. So starting with the settings, I've already done these before. Simple things here. You don't need the video and audio stuff, that's depending on your computer, but what I would recommend is turning on show your health, so you can always see your health above your character. I think this is very helpful to have an immediate idea of how much health you have. And also turn off the nameplate, unless you're a new player. If you're a new player, you might want to have the guard names or player names there just to know who's who. But eventually you will know the character names, and then it gives you a little more vision while having the show your health enabled. Hopefully one day we will be able to move our own health. Until then, and this is probably the best you can do. And in targeting, you want the ruler if you want to see the exact distance. I would recommend that generally. And the target really depends on what you like best. I don't like the reticle because the ground target gives you a much better idea of where you're aiming. Highlighting is just a nice gimmick for me. And instant casting is relevant as such that it sets the default for your spells to instant casting. You can change that for any particular spell with the K button though. But only this way you can change the cast mode for relics. Relics are typically on normal cast, I think. But with this you can set them to quick cast or instant cast. Many people like quick cast for that as well. So up to you. With quick cast you can still see the range beforehand, which I think is good. But at the same time, instant cast is just faster for stuff like beats and Aegis by a split second. So that's it for these settings. We get to the key bindings later. For now we just jump into the HUD editor. I've reset everything. We're starting from scratch here. And we're gonna remove some stuff and so on and so on. So this button down here is completely unnecessary and can be hidden. Same for the item display if you're using this one in that way as it is set up. Just get rid of that. This one can be set up with the stats and item, which I prefer. So you have all in one window, and I scale it down a little bit because I really don't need it any larger than that. VGS menu, yeah, can be relatively small. I know I didn't actually reset, but that's fine. Doesn't need any more size than this, honestly, because at some point it is muscle memory. You don't really look up what the things mean. You can make it larger though, it doesn't really matter. It's pretty relevant. Just make sure it doesn't cover too much of the screen. Then the chat window, obviously, same thing here. Just place it so, place it the way you like it. And then we are getting to the more important stuff. I'll shove this down here for a bit. So the passive meter, I think, in my opinion, should be a little larger. I prefer it a little larger just to know what's going on with the passive of the character, which can be very crucial. The player stats themselves can be smaller though. I don't think you need that in any larger size than that, unless you're not using the top health bar here. I think it's completely fine to scale that down to what is 76 point. Buff bar, I just place it a little lower, but it's fine like that, I think. I do like to place the debuff bar up here now. Did not do that previously, but I think it's good to have an immediate idea of which debuffs are on you. This is not as important for the buffs, because the buffs are often on you at all times. Some characters have a buff on them all the time, and if you have it up here, it's just getting annoying. Level up could just stay there, it just doesn't matter, honestly. A lot of these displays here, the upgrade display, sure, you can leave it there, you can put it down here, it's pretty irrelevant. Level up, I put that on the side as well just to make it a little less cluttered for the overview here. Objectives can stay under the minimap, but we'll talk about the minimap later. We got the kill message, which I don't think needs to be that large. Notifications generally can be small. Oh, sometimes these glitch out a little bit. Smaller, don't need to take up all that space. Objective health, I think, is a very important one. I'd like to scale that up a little bit. Can put that. I would try and put it somewhere where it doesn't get blocked by something else if you have multiple notifications up. We might have to shove it around a little bit later. We'll see. For now, we put it here. Accurate display is, well, also, yeah, kind of annoying to shove these around a little bit. But, you know, you get the idea. Acolyte title. That's all not so important for the actual HUD. Friendly death. Can just go down a little bit. Just keep it clean. And the score display, I will scale down. I will actually scale down a fair bit. I just need the in-game clock. What's the side at? 86. And we'll talk about that in a second. So we got everything we want around here. And now for the more important parts, I think. So team display. Team display, I would use the original version, which lines all the teammates up next to each other instead of underneath each other, because that allows us to put that anywhere else. Until very recently I had, or until now basically, I had the team display down here and the enemy display right underneath. So you see the stats that way, and that's totally fine, and I would recommend that if you want to have them as close to you as possible. Some people are irritated because it blocks vision, but I think it's worth it. But I've recently been on Veneno's stream a lot, and Veneno does something that I really like, and that I will just copy straight up because I think it's a good idea. Veneno covers his stats, the score display and the gold, with these team bars. And I think that's brilliant. Because in the end, the information you're getting out of these panels is hardly ever relevant. Okay, I need to scale that thing down a little more. It is so rare that the information you get out of that is actually relevant. You don't need to know the total amount of kills on your team, and you don't need to know the total amount of goals the team have. What's much more important is in the tab screen, the information for the single player instead of the whole team. What this does though is prevents tilt. If you don't see how badly a team is doing in games of total gold, and you don't see how the total kill score is, then you are much less likely to tilt, because you simply don't even know. So how would you tilt? Also, I think it's not the worst position for these to be in. They're not like off the screen wall too much. They're in the center up top, so you can still get a quick overview of the health and stuff like that. So that's what I'm gonna go with from now on. I might actually place the objective health over here now, because we got that room. And with that surrender mode, yeah, whatever, put it up top. Just maybe, yeah, make it like that. And now for the last thing, we can't see it properly here, sadly, or not the last thing, but the second last thing, which is the minimap. I like my minimap scaled up a lot. I think it's 108. I can't see it exactly right now because, oh, why is this not working? Wait, okay. Apparently I can't move that as long as the other one is above it, or something like that. Interesting. Might as well put this here now. So I like to have a minimap in the center of the screen, and I like to have it very large. Transparency is, or opacity is, I think, around 30 or 25. Just so you can see through everything, but you can still see the outlines of the map, what's where. I think this gives you a much better overview of what's happening, and then when you have it like somewhere up in the corner. And I used to have it like really large. Actually, I might have it a little smaller now. Just to get, we'll see. Somewhat in between there. Just make it so that it fits best for you, honestly. Like whatever feels best, but I would generally recommend bringing it closer to your character, just so you know what's going on. And then make it transparent so it doesn't block vision. And while we're talking about transparency, there's one more thing I like to change, and that's we're talking about the health bars, right? So we scale them up to 100. You can scale them lower, but I don't like it. That's bad. And I want to know my health. I want to see that immediately, and I want to see it as good as possible. What I do though is I set down the opacity to a level where I can still see the health really well, and at the same time I can see my aim much better. I'll check. I think it's around 40 somewhat. So then we have, why is the achievement thing different from the others? That is strange. I guess it's just not possible to change that. Whatever. Okay, and these are all the settings I have. I'll apply that now. See what it actually looks like. There you go. And we check with the Rauri quick, or with the Odin bots, if the health bars have the decent transparency. Because now, see, because there's no name covering... Can I show my mouth? there's no name covering the aim of the bar, right? So of the target term. So because the name is not covering, I know very precisely where I will aim my ability, and I think that is very, very good. And it stays like that until I go this far out. But I can basically aim an ability up to the max range without covering up anything, and that's really good. And the transparency helps a little bit, just in case you feel like you need to see through what's going on behind. So a little bit of transparency, I think, is good on these. And that's the settings so far for when it comes to the HUD. And now we just go through the key bindings. We do that relatively quick. So for key bindings, we have ESDF for movement keys. You can use WASD, that's completely fine. I think this is better because it allows you to bind your keys better around your hand, basically. But you can definitely do WASD. The whole setup just changed a little bit then. So what I like to have close is toggle auto run, simply because it allows you to use VGS while running without having to possibly let go of your movement key. So I think it's nice to have that close. For me, it's Q. We have jump on left shift because I have my ultimate on spacebar. You know, you don't really need jumping, but it's still fun to have. You have to place it somewhere else if you go for a WASD setup. Fire and everything says, right? And now we get to the abilities. My abilities are on A, W, R, and spacebar. This means they're like around the movement keys, which allows you to just move and still have your fingers on all abilities at all times, instead of having them like cramped up over your movement key. If you go for WASD, you can do something like Shift Q E spacebar. The finger setting is just a little bit. You can also use caps lock, but I don't really like that. And then you just obviously have to bind your jump somewhere else. What I also like to do is put the consumables down, like so that I can reach them with my thumb above the spacebar. I have them on V and B. Therefore, had to place recall on N, because you're not gonna need recall immediately all that often. So consumables need to be more accessible for your thumb. That depends on the size of your hand as well, obviously, and the size of your keyboard. So this can change as well. I have the nice benefit of having 2 thumb buttons on my mouse, so I can use my relics that way. Obviously, that's not the case for everyone. Sometimes you might have to possibly use keys like Y, or you can bind Q to an active, or T. But it usually comes with some changes to the rest of your key bindings, which is always something you have to keep in mind. This depends on what you prefer, really. For me, this works perfectly. 3 mouses on Alt then. And I think, other than that, pretty much everything stays the same. VGS is starting with G, which is a bit annoying for some, because you need to get used to it, especially if you've played this for a long time. You might want to stick with the default. I have gotten used to just using VGS with G, and I cannot even use it with the V key anymore, so that's fine for me. Everything else pretty much stays the same. Alright, that's it for the bindings. Like I said, you can easily do WASD as well, but I personally prefer ESDF because it just allows you for more room on your keyboard and when it comes to the keys that you need around that. And that should be it for this video. I hope I have covered everything regarding the interface. I need to check back in a custom conquest if the map actually works out fine, but it shouldn't make any major differences. With that, thank you guys for watching. Duke Sloth out.